In this video, we are going to talk about entropy and equilibrium in classical thermodynamics. So first we need to define a few terms here. Macroscopic properties are those properties that depend on the bulk features of a system of many molecules. So we're not talking about just a single molecule, but when we have a bunch of them together. And these would be things like pressure and mean density and things like that. Microscopic properties are those that pertain to individual molecules, such as the position and velocity of a particular atom. Thermodynamic equilibrium can be defined as satisfying the following three conditions. The first is that the macroscopic properties of a system do not change with time. So if you have a system that's just sitting there, you're not acting on it from the outside, from one point in time to another point in time, none of the properties will change. So the pressure won't change, the temperature won't change, things like that. Number two, the macroscopic properties of a system do not depend on how it was prepared, but instead depends only on the current conditions of state. A system brought to a specific equilibrium state always behaves identically, and such states are history independent. So essentially that means, say we have a gas, we start it at a high temperature, then we have another volume of that same type of gas, and we start it at a low temperature, we let them come to equilibrium. There is no difference between the equilibrium of those two gases. So it doesn't matter how we got there. What matters is once we get to that equilibrium, the equilibrium is the same for both of them. Number three, which we're not going to talk about much in this video, we'll talk about it more in future videos, but it just says that the macroscopic properties of a large number of copies of the same system at the same state conditions are identical, irrespective of whether each copy had a distinct preparation history. So the equilibrium properties of a system measured at a macroscopic level, so those would be things like the pressure and volume and things like that, are the average behavior of many molecules, so usually on the order of 1 mole or even more. A system is in equilibrium when these average properties do not change over time. So from T1 to T2, however long that is, the bulk properties of that system would be the same at both of those times if the system remains in equilibrium. Classical thermodynamics provides laws and mathematical structure that govern the behavior of bulk macroscopic systems. And so entropy is something that we started talking about in the previous video. This one we're going to be approaching it from kind of a different direction than we did in the previous video. So entropy is a central concept in thermodynamics. It is a function of equilibrium of isolated systems, so that's systems that cannot exchange matter or energy with the surroundings and have a fixed volume. For a single component system, the function is this form right here, where the entropy S is equal to this function right here. So that's a function of the internal energy, the volume, the number of particles, and some other independent variable X, where X could be something like partitions or external fields like an electromagnetic field. So the internal energy, volume, and the number of particles are exhaustive for what's called a simple gas. This is a gas that is macroscopically homogeneous, isotropic, and chemically inert, where surface effects in external fields are negligible. So in other words, if we ignore that X variable. This is because internal energy represents the first law of thermodynamics, the conservation of energy, and so it accounts for the total kinetic and potential energy of the microstates. Volume represents the external mechanical constraint and defines the boundaries of the quote-unquote box, and so dictates the spacing of the quantum energy levels. The number of particles represents the conservation of matter, and so determines the degrees of freedom in the system. The internal energy comes from all the molecular interactions of the system, so the kinetic energies of all the molecules, plus the potential energies due to their interactions with each other and with the container walls. If there are more than one kind of substance present, then there are more of these N variables. So if we have a gas, for instance, that's just helium, then we'd have just one N, but say if it's a mixture of helium and neon, then it would have two N's, and so on as we add more gases to it. We can think of entropy as a mathematical function that exists for all substances at equilibrium. Even if we do not know the analytical form of the function, we know that one exists for a system with specific values of internal energy, volume, and number of particles, as well as this X. In most cases, as I said, we assume a simple gas, and so we will usually just ignore X. The specific form of the entropy function is different for every system, but all have the following features. Number one, it has partial derivatives, and this is the rate at which entropy changes with respect to these three variables here. So we have this partial derivative of entropy with respect to the internal energy if volume and number of particles is held constant, and that's equal to 1 over T, where T is the absolute temperature. Then we have the partial of entropy with respect to volume if the internal energy and number of particles stays constant, that's equal to pressure over temperature. Then we have the partial derivative of entropy with respect to the number of particles. If the internal energy and volume is constant, that's equal to minus the chemical potential over the temperature, where we can think of the chemical potential as how much the internal energy changes with a change in the number of particles. Then we have the extensivity. So this just means, for instance, that the doubling of energy, volume, and number of particles will double the entropy. And we also have the concavity, which ensures that the heat capacity is positive and the isothermal compressibility is positive. So this first one just tells us if you add energy to the system, it heats up. If you remove energy, it cools down. The second one just means that if you squeeze the system, it becomes smaller, the volume goes down. If you expand it, then it becomes bigger, the volume increases. So you can see why in the physical world that this is important, because there is no case where adding energy into the system will cause it to cool down, or if you compress it, it actually gets larger. So this is one of the important features of our entropy here. Features 2 and 3 are from the nature of molecular interactions in large systems. The most important common feature is 1, which can be written as the total differential that looks like this. So we're just adding up all of these partials here, which after substituting from feature 1 above, we get this right here. And I wrote this over here because this should maybe look somewhat familiar to something you would have seen in general chemistry. So if we multiply through by temperature, do a little bit of rearranging, we end up with this right here, which is very similar to this delta G equals delta H minus T delta S right there. So that is an important equation used in chemistry. This can also be rearranged to get the expression in terms of the internal energy, and that looks like this. And these are known as the entropy and energy versions of the fundamental equation. If it's a multi-component system, so if there's more than one substance, then we just have to add all those together for the number of particles, because they will each have their own chemical potential. We therefore see that only 3 pieces of information are necessary to specify the entropy for a single component system, namely the internal energy, the volume, and the number of particles, meaning that only 3 pieces of information are necessary to completely specify the equilibrium state of the system. Thus, for a system with C components, so if we have multiple components, we'd actually need C plus 2 pieces of information. We can calculate the pressure, temperature, and chemical potential from the entropy function if we know the internal energy, the volume, and the number of particles by evaluating the 3 partial derivatives of these values. Or if we know the temperature, volume, and number of particles, we could find the internal energy as the value that satisfies this differential equation here. The temperature, pressure, and chemical potential are all related to derivatives of the same function, which has important mathematical consequences for the relationships between these variables. Extensivity and concavity also place limits on the kinds of values that these can take and how they depend on our internal energy, volume, and number of particles. And so all this is to say that the main idea here is that there exist quantitative mathematical relationships among the macroscopic properties of our internal energy, our volume, our number of particles, our temperature, our pressure, and our chemical potential at equilibrium. The study of these relationships constitutes classical thermodynamics. As an example, an ideal gas has an equation of state, and so doing a little bit of manipulation on this, we get P over T equals NK sub B over V, where the right-hand side is a function of independent variables in entropy, namely the number of particles and the volume, and so we can integrate our equation from earlier, so we're using this right here, this is our fundamental equation, with constant internal energy and number of particles, and so we end up with this right here, so we're just integrating, which gives the entropy in terms of the volume, so we end up with the number of particles times the Boltzmann constant times the natural log of the volume. Then this right here is just a constant of integration for the internal energy and the number of particles. We could also use this to try finding the entropy function in terms of energy. So we have our internal energy here being equal to our constant volume heat capacity times temperature plus some starting energy right here. Or we can use this right here for our temperature. And so we get 1 over T being equal to the CV over E cis minus E naught, where using that the entropy is the integral of 1 over T times the infinitesimal change of internal energy gives us this right here, thus giving us entropy in terms of energy, which again looks like this. We have our constant volume heat capacity right here times the natural log of the internal energy plus this constant of integration. We could also get the entropy in terms of the number of particles, which would look like this, which looks similar to the other two, but we see we have this negative right here. So a note on that negative both here and in the fundamental fundamental equation is that this comes from the fact that if you, for instance, doubled the number of particles in this system while holding the internal energy and volume constant, that would crowd twice as many indistinguishable, and we'll talk more about what that means in the next video. So it would crowd twice as many indistinguishable particles into the same volume, reducing the number of places each particle can go. Holding internal energy constant would essentially mean having to reduce the amount of energy of each particle as n increases. So we want the internal energy of the entire system to remain constant. That would mean that adding more particles would mean that each particle would have to have less energy in order for the internal energy to remain constant. So what we're saying here is if we are holding both the internal energy and the volume constant while we're adding more particles, we would have to have fewer spaces for the particles to actually go because they would all be crowded in, and each particle would actually have to have less energy. Thus, increasing the number of particles while holding these constant would actually reduce the amount of entropy. In pretty much all systems in physical reality, increasing the number of particles also increases the volume and or the internal energy, and so the negative term in the fundamental equation just ensures that the system maintains the extensivity and concavity features. So that's why we have this negative right here for the number of particles. But anyway, that was just a small introduction to what's called classical thermodynamics. I hope you found that helpful, and I will see you in the next video.